Hey, what's up, guys? Okay, so I'm excited because the spoilers for chapter 280 are out, and just based off the leaked images alone, it looks like this chapter is going to be insane. So I don't even want to waste any time, so let's just jump right into the leaks for this week's chapter. Okay, so jumping right into the summary, it looks like the chapter is going to be called Surging Disaster, which, by the way, before we get even more into the summary, I do want you guys to remember that when it comes down to the leaks and the fan translation, the translation for the chapters aren't one-to-one. So if you want to get the official names for the chapters and the characters that show up for the first time, you have to read the official release on Sundays when they come out on the Shonen Jump app. Now, this is actually really interesting because if you guys remember back in chapter 263, when Nock was basically telling everyone about the plan the Dark Triad had about opening the gates, he said that the devils that came out of the first few gates would be as strong as the Dark Triad members. But now we're finding out that they are actually even stronger than them, which means that Nock very much underestimated how strong these devils are going to be. The names for the devils are Lilith and Nehema, which, again, guys, we can't take this as being 100% concrete evidence. We had to basically wait for the official translation to come out on Sunday. But I'm assuming that Lilith, at the very least, is going to be the correct name for the female devil. But when it comes to the male devil, I'm assuming that Nehema is not going to be exactly what the name translates to. But now what's really interesting about this is the fact that Lilith, if you do research on the Tree of Cleave path, Lilith actually is one of the devils listed on the Tree of Cleave path. And it is listed that they're actually the next devil in the devil in the gate following after Lilith is actually supposed to be her sister or her brother, just a sibling in general. But what's really interesting about this is the fact that those two devils are supposed to be at the bottom of the Tree of Cleave path. They're supposed to be the last two gates that open up. So this means that the Bada is either reversing the order that the gates open up in the Tree of Cleave path, or more than likely because the first gate, the gate of Damiel in the Tree of Cleave path, is the only gate that houses two devils at once. More than likely what he's doing is basically just rearranging which devils show up in which gate. And since these two are supposed to be siblings, I guess it does make sense to have them show up in the same gate at once. Roots from the Tree of Cleave path drain mana from the world, and devils pour from the Spade Castle. Demons are back too. Okay, so this is actually really interesting development when it comes to how the Heart Kingdom people, like the Spirit Guardians, Noel and them, are going to basically be affected when fighting in the Spade Kingdom. Because they rely on natural mana, basically taking mana from the world and using it to boost their attacks. But if the Tree of Cleave path is basically draining mana from the world, and I'm assuming it's not going to drain all the mana, obviously, but it seems like that could possibly end up hindering their abilities when they get to the Spade Kingdom and help out the fights. And one of the leaked images we got for this week was of the devils actually storming out of the castle, and I'm assuming that all these devils are going to be lower tier ones, that way, you know, when characters who are going to be showing up to help out in the Spade Kingdom do finally get there, they have a chance of defeating them. It's still probably going to be a hard fight for a lot of these more minor characters for the arc, but when they actually do show up, they still would have a chance of teaming up and defeating off against these lower tier devils. And also, we actually get to see in one of the leaked images, the demon that Mereoleona was fighting get back up, and it looks like it went through a major power up through the first gate being opened up. So this means that we're going to get to see possibly an actual real fight between them, because we've only got to see bits and pieces of the fight so far. And from each part that we saw, it didn't look like Mereoleona was struggling at all. And when you have an intense character like Mereoleona, if she is part of the arc, there's no reason for her not to have an on-screen fight, and that fight has to be as intense as the character herself. So at some point we will get to see the rematch between her and this demon, and that is more than likely going to be one of the hardest fights of the entire arc. Okay, so the first gate opens up, and the Dark Triad members can now go 100%. And we actually get to see new transformations for each of these characters now that they can go 100%, and they are insane. I gotta say, I'm not going to show the images on the screen here, but I would have to say that Vanica is possibly my favorite of the three new transformations that they get. And then Xeno will probably be my least favorite. I just don't like the bony look that he has. That's kind of only covering half of his face. I don't know, but you can tell me in the comment section down below what you guys think about the new transformations and which one is your favorite. Vanica frees herself and goes after Charlotte, which we actually do get to see a leaked image of that, and while Charlotte does look like she's on the ropes in that fight, she does also seem like she's still kind of holding her own. And we also got to remember that at some point, the third member of her team is actually going to end up joining up in the fight. So once that person shows up, I forget if it's Fugoyan or Dorothy, who's their third member. But once they end up showing up, they're going to be a big help when it comes to fighting off against Vanica. And plus, at the end of the day, even with Vanica's power-up, Charlotte still should have the advantage just because of the fact that her ability, the stronger the curse magic her opponent has, the more she takes away from them and they actually get stronger through her briars. So she should still technically have the advantage, but I'm guessing that it's going to be more of like a speed thing. It's probably going to be something that Vanica is just hitting her too hard, and now that she knows the trick that Charlotte has, it's going to be harder for Charlotte to basically get her briars around her to use that ability to drain the curse from her to strengthen herself. Dante starts beating Jack to a pulp. They didn't have to describe it like that. They could have just said that Jack is getting beat up. They didn't have to basically disrespect him like that. And also keep in mind, just like how Charlotte is still waiting for her third partner to come and help them out in the fight, Jack is still waiting on that as well. but it's going to be a lot harder because they have 2 devils now to contend with on top of the Dark Triad member versus just the Dark Triad member alone. Nock wants to take down Morris, but needs to deal with Lilith and Nehema, which, considering the fact that he couldn't really fight off against Dante, and Dante was weaker than them, it leads to question how he possibly thinks he can even come close to handling those 2. Nock asks humanity to die with me. Now, this is also interesting because one of the fan theories that's been running around for a while now is that Nock's Cat Devil has the attribute or the ability to basically give Nock 9 lives, because obviously one of the characteristics of cats that people usually associate with them is them having 9 lives. So this could actually be a really interesting development, finding out that maybe Nock can sacrifice himself in order to take out these 2, and then get back up and only have wasted 2 lives. Xenon counters on Yuno and asks about who it is that will die after all, and we do get to see this fight, and it does look like Yuno gets knocked back a little bit, but the fight doesn't seem like Yuno's at a very much disadvantage just yet. But again, we only get to see one panel of that fight in this chapter so far, or at least from the leaked images. And with this fight, it's a little different from the other 2 because Yuno has been the one that's about to set up to be the one to defeat Xenon. So even though he is still technically waiting on the 3rd member of his team to show up, at the end of the day, we know that this fight's going to end with Yuno defeating Xenon, no matter how strong Xenon gets. Demons attack the Clover Kingdom. Alright, so this was actually something that was leaked out last night, and I didn't talk about it or make a video on it just because of the fact that the leaks weren't confirmed just yet. But one thing that came to mind for myself and a lot of people who saw that leak was the fact that who is left? Now, if a demon attacks the Clover Kingdom, one demon alone, who's boosted by the power of the first gate being open, if one demon alone attacks the Clover Kingdom, who's there left to defend it? Because Kaiser's the only captain, Julius is still a little kid, he doesn't have access to anywhere near as much magic as he did. So the question really became, who's still left in the Clover Kingdom to help out? And I mean, you got the Black Bull members who are still there, assumedly that they haven't gone to the Space Kingdom yet to help out in the fight. Asta, as we find out later on in the leaked images, is actually still confirmed in the Clover Kingdom, basically training off in the Ritual Center, but he probably doesn't know just yet that the demons are there. But I assume once he leaves to go to the Space Kingdom, he'll see the demons, go to defeat them, and then head over to the Space Kingdom in order to help out. But besides him, there's the other squad members, or the other squads that are still left there. But other than that, there's not really much people. I mean, there's Fanzel. Fanzel and his group are still there. But when it comes down to it, there's no one really in the Space Kingdom, or in the Clover Kingdom, that you would really think would actually be able to defeat a demon. Which led me to thinking that maybe this will be the time that we actually finally get to see characters that we've been introduced to in the series that haven't been relevant for a while now, like the Witch Queen or the people from this Underwater Sea Temple, finally showing back up. And then, like I said, the chapter ends with Asta being revealed as still being in the training ritual, and it seems like by the end of the chapter, based off the leaked images, that he might finally figured out how to fully control his Devil Union mode, at least for a short amount of time, and it looks like he's finally basically gearing up to go and help out in the fight. But yeah, guys, that's it for the leaks for this week's chapter, and just based off the summary alone, it looks like this chapter is going to be insane. Like I said, I'm not going to have any of the images on the video, so, you know, I don't want to get copyrighted, but you can easily find them if you just look up online, you know, Black Clover 280 spoilers. You can easily find the images that I saw, and they are all incredible. I mean, the transformations, like I said, you got to see the transformations that Dante, Vanica, and Xenon have now, because they are incredible. It's a little hard to see Dante's, because it's based off of an actual hardcover book, and the one for Dante's in the middle, which is basically, you know, in the middle of a 2-page spread. But all 3 of them still look incredible from what we can see, and I cannot wait to read the fan translation from when this chapter comes out tomorrow, and the official translation when it comes out on Sunday. But that's going to do it for this video, going over the leaks of chapter 280. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys thought about the leaks. If you saw them, did you enjoy them? Do you think this chapter is going to be insane? I mean, Tabata has basically been giving us insane chapter after insane chapter for the entirety of this arc. I mean, I know a lot of people didn't really like the fights that we got in the Clover in the Heart Kingdom that much, but for me, ever since we started the 6-month time skip, each chapter has been incredible, and I cannot wait to see how many more incredible chapters Tabata has in this tank throughout the rest of the arc. But that's it for the video, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, drop me a like, subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Comment down below your thoughts and theories, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.